You're the greatest mom of all. Always catch me when I fall. Even from a distance, you can hear me when I call. You're the greatest mom of all. You're the greatest mom of all. You're the greatest mom of all.
The notion of a community raising a child, and in this instance, the extended family, is very relevant in today's society and is definitely one of the factors responsible for the bond between these two siblings, Shaun and Shauna, and the bond with their mother. This is their story.
All right, so this is the lady that I think she made me love everything that regards to music and regards to Jamaica, because maybe when I was in her belly, she would have listened to the radio. So there are some songs when I hear is like, I always I listen to it and I know the words. I say, how I know the words of the song? So this lady introduced me to music in the belly. Definitely was there throughout the 9 months.
Yeah,
9 months. She feel the pain, and she's here definitely as that person that guided me throughout the many years. We can say fully 35 years. She's been my guidance. She's been, and I don't think I did subtitly long, but I've been latched on to my mother. And this lady here, Dorraine Pamela Mured, then she turned Dorraine Pamela Drisdale, is my mother, and definitely I tell you, I love her like cook food, and there's no other mother like this mother. She gave me a birthday present when I was 11,
right?
and it looked like that over there. The same day, the 6th of September, just 11 years apart. So, my mother. All right. Growing up was interesting. I don't have a lot of people that I can sit down and talk to. That's my age group. About growing up. So I'll have older people that I can relate to. I grew up in a place called Featherbed Lane for 6 years. Featherbed Lane, and although I grew up in Featherbed Lane, my mother ensured that I got all the experiences that were possible. I ended up going to prep school for a little while and then going to primary school, but she always ensured that I got opportunities to understand everything. Was sent to the YMCA some summers. I told lies that the man want join me because I never want to go there. However, she still, found ways and found places for me to go. And that's where I end up in the theater and loving theater, because she forced me to go summer camp with my Auntie Janet, where I also met Auntie Dorraine, but that's a long story. But growing up was wonderful. I always complain. Shauna always say I'm the spoiled one, and I do agree, because when I go places as a younger person, them always know that I must get my mile up. So growing up, I don't know if I gave a lot of trouble, but definitely I never get a lot of beating, only when I give trouble sometimes. And she gave me everything that I wanted and all that I didn't know that I wanted, but ensure that that environment was conducive to me growing up and trying to understand life, not only in where you live, but everywhere in the world.
Well, I shared a very similar brought up say like Shaun. Grew up at uncle's house, grandma's house, but really, mommy came every evening, and we still had that little time of interaction. During that time of interaction, she continued to encourage us to pursue passion. That's something that is very continuous. Even now, right, is always pursuing passion. She wasn't like one of those mother that was centered around the financial aspect of a career, right? Mark you, she did mention that whatever we're going to be doing, should be able to take care of us. But it was always passion, and so from the get-go, I had to pursue something that was led through passion, right, and something that was something that could be fueled through my talent. So I grew up, drawing. As Shaun said, went to summer school as well. Funny enough, the summer school that I went to was really drama school because our auntie was, drama school coordinator for summer school, and so it was drama school. But a couple years I went to art school, and it kind of started, the passion for visual arts kind of started from there. And of course, as I said, she continued to push me throughout, looking at my artworks and, wanting to frame them, wanting to sell them, right? So, so she's always, pushing the passion. And as long as you have passion in whatever you're doing, it will be done to the best. It will be done to the best.
Up to this week, I personally had some doubts about what I'm doing, after so much years. And she still motivates and still says, boy, I'm proud of you. Everything that you do up to this point, I am proud of you. And I just want to encourage you to go through. It has never been a problem. As I said, going to drama school, I was also recruited by some people to do some video. I was about 13 or 14. And being 13 or 14, to be an actor, you'd have to get consent from your parents. So, what's your name? A lady named Hilary Nicholson and Cynthia Wilmot sent a letter, and two I was in front of a camera, acting with Owen Blacker Ellis and Winston Bello Ben at 14 years old. In front of camera, go, stop, speeding, roll, all of that. And that was just through the motivation of my mother. I don't even think I know half of the newspaper articles I'm a part of. But she knows all of them. All of them come on TV and me don't know. Right, so she has a scrapbook, so that motivation. And I know it goes for Shauna too. Shauna might even paint something and don't like it, and she think it's the best and frame it without even ask Shauna, because of how it looks and how she loves that we are doing what we love. As I say, the money wasn't always the thing. It was never about money. If so, definitely we wouldn't go into drama or theater. It's more about passion, because it's not about money in the end. It's more about you're doing to help people, and your passion might even build and ignite a passion in somebody else. So she was always
in regards to criticism, as you mentioned, she always said that whatever we produce comes out of us, and that was the core. So whatever, even if I did some abstract painting, or did some poem or something that was abstract in nature, she always said it is flowing out of you. And the fact that it's flowing out of me or out of Shaun, it's unique, right? So nothing beats that.
I think maybe because of the year and the time, the decade that we grew up in, I would have received most of the punishment, which is one and few. It's more like not like disobeying something that if you obey it, you'll learn something better from it. So you should have obeyed this. So it's not even so much. And no, she's not a laissez-faire type that just allows us to do anything. I got nothing too wicked. But she is always a disciplinarian. I remember maybe it's one time I get a little one thump in my chest from my father, but every other time she had those duties to punish if there was any time to punish, and it was always understood at the end of the punishment is not like my Bex, and feel away with her. It's more like I understood that I guess what I did affected all of this some way, and then me try to see how I could have learned from the situation. So I mean, you say discipline is just the way we're brought up. It's not so much the discipline, it's the indiscipline that led to the discipline happening. Yeah. And learning from that situation.
I agree totally. With the fact that we, as I said, were brought up partly at grandma's house. Most of the disciplinary action took place there. So grandma or uncle would take charge of that, and then one and two time mommy will say she's disappointed. Just her saying that. I mean, I get beaten too, with the slippers and those kind of stuff, but it wasn't that intense. Most of it was really her saying, you know, boy, I never expected to do this. I'm so disappointed, and that alone made me ball. No, it's not. The fact that
Dropping a
she
mouth.
was, she was disappointed. So I was just like, you know, so that was really the impact for me in regards to discipline.
Personally, I never had a challenge. Reason being, as they both mentioned, they were by grandma most of the time. Not that they weren't living with us, you know, they were living with us. We had a home. But like to go work in the mornings and we would drop them off, and then in the evening I would pick them up back. And even when they were going to school, they would make their way to grandma's house after school in the evening, and then in the night I would go and pick them up. But I am blessed. That's the most I can say, because whereas you'd have children who give a whole lot of trouble, where you have to be, I didn't have that stress, and Sean was a protective one for his sister, because since he was all of 11 years old, you know, he was basically the protector for his sister. She was the youngest of the two, and he just took care. He helped us in whatever way to grow her. So, like to say, have a challenge with them, there wasn't that challenge any at all. It was good actually.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, so I think I am fortunate to have spent most of the time with mommy, in terms of, you know, while I was going to high school, she would be the one who takes me to school. So a lot of that time spent is always talking, and I am. Unlike my friends, I am very comfortable speaking with my mom, speaking to her in regards to any aspect of my life, you know. So I would choose, she was like my best friend in a sense, right? So, you know, I was able to talk to her, and then she would give me any form of recommendation based on her own experience. Another fun thing is dancing together. So, like on Saturdays, you know, RJR would be playing a nice playlist, all these playlists, and you know, she would be in there doing our little moves, and you know, I come in, of course, and try to learn, and up to today, you know, that is something that still stands.
Yeah. Interestingly, there are some memories, some very fun memories. Shauna might not remember it because she was so small. But we would travel and go to some places if it's not a resorts kind of setting with daddy also. We'd go to maybe Port Royal, and these trips and these excursions would be always encouraged. I think that I miss, it might sound away, but I miss natural disasters like hurricane.
That
Not even, no,
experience.
Gilbert too far. You have some other one that came, and because you weren't able to leave out and go anywhere. You had to stay home, and
Mini
that's where
games.
the games and the interesting games came along. The creation of a loaded board, when she just have a black marker and a piece of board, and she drew the loaded board. The measurements might be off, but the loaded board draw. Home is here, heaven is there. All right. So definitely, even those simple things playing together, we just always have that nice energy with her all the time.
A lot of me reflected in them, because what I realize is that they're even older than their actual age when it comes to be responsible, and they're always the ones who are taking charge in a situation. They're amongst their friends, and so they it's like they're more experienced than their age. So for that, the responsiveness I see myself being exhibited in both of them really. Um, they a lot of trait, I should say, a lot of trait, and I guess because this is was taught to them from early, then they just realize that, yeah, some of probably what mommy used to say in olden days just coming off the tip of our mouth, because she learned this from her parents. Some of them never really make sense then, but as they grow older, they realize that yes, these are some of the values and attitude that they have to hold fast to. One particular one is that they were taught by myself and daddy and even uncle more than all, that they need to be leaders and not followers. And that more than anything else, I think, take them to where they are just now. That they realize that they don't have to prove anything to anyone, but to be honest to themselves and just be who they are. share love as well, because we don't have anything else apart from love.
Um, in regards to her colleagues, right? And she in most instances she's a supervisor, right? So she always have persons below her to supervise, and so she's always when she come and she talk about them, or even when I visit her workplace and they talk about her, that same no nonsense, and encouraging to be responsible is still instilling in her colleagues, right? I remember one of them saying that Miss Driz is my mother, right? Because she's always there and encouraging them to pursue higher, always giving them, the little nudge whenever they need it. So she is, as I said, a no nonsense person, someone who is always teaching. She's not a teacher, not a trained teacher, but she's always teaching in any way. You got to work to do, probably filing, for example, and you end up learning some other life skill or some other moral. So she's always teaching.
Yeah, it's a similar thing for me. When I do go to her workplace, me not know half of them people, and people that tell me say I'm name Shaun. Hi Shaun, how you doing? Like they know me from before, and just the reception there. I know that she spread love. Definitely anywhere that she has been. I would have been around from Panjam, Jamintel days, all these places that we met people before computer come with the black screen with the green writing. So I've always met these people and they've always had good things to say about my mother. It's never like, oh, is she your mother? Right? You never get that kind of reaction from anybody. Them say, oh, Drizzy son this. Nice one, how you doing? And yeah, the Drizzy thing, I know my one.
Not
So
mine either.
it's not mine. So this is Drizzy right here, the real Drizzy. As she stated, definitely she herself and my father would have worked in Kingston. We live in Spanish Town. I went to St. Jago High School. So when it's report time, is Miss Suoni, which is my grandmother, step up to the plate and did it, which is sometimes maybe not a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the result of the report. But my grandma was always chill, and she would come to report there. So it's more like what kind of impact the teacher gonna leave on grandma, if then leave the impact on mommy, because she have to see the paper and then hear the things that will go on. So it was more of what would be the reaction of grandma when she come to report there to then tell mommy and then work out what got after that.
Yeah. My experience, of course, is different. 11 years apart. By then, mommy will, get 1 and 2 days, take 1 and 2 days off work to actually come and collect the report. I would see, for example, my friends, parents come or classmates, and the parents come right with the belt, or the parents come ready to discipline on spot. But mommy never did that, to be honest. I never had that fear of she's going to embarrass me. She always ensured though that she spoke to the teachers who had, not necessarily a negative review, but where the subjects were low. So she would go to actually speak to the teacher to find out what's happening. And then when she go home, she would say, boy, Tony, that's my dad, she would say, boy, Tony, the report never so good in her. The report not too bad, She fall on in some, She said, boy, Shauna, you have to go pick up, and it's an ongoing thing. The picking up, she's ensuring that I pick up. So it's ongoing. So whenever I'm watching TV or doing, Shauna, you have to remember, say the grade them now, you have to pick up, but it wasn't it was just always, pushing that and telling me that I have to work on it, yeah.
We grew with proverbs, with Jamaican proverbs. If you don't mind me, I have to talk about Fiar Mother, which is my grandmother. It's not like we're playing right there and tutus, we turn this over and it drop. She now says, Shauna, what are you doing there? You hear I go jackass, fall like and trash, go up on. And then you had to learn from that rather than she said, what are you doing much of? No, it wasn't about that. It was more about the teachings that came from her. So we grew with these teachings. Whatever you do it well. And I have to add my father to that, because if you wash the plate and something left on the plate, it's better you never bother wash the plate. Because better you wash the plate and do it well, rather than don't nobody do it at all if you're not doing it well. And I say, why sometimes I have to laugh when some things just come out of your mouth that came out of your parents' mouth. I feel of people's hands. So it's a lot of teachings, and we use them daily. As I say, we feel mature in our age group based on how we operate, and how we operate is based on the teachings that we got that got we to this far.
Yeah, I'll say that my mom has, as I said, she's a nonsense person, and she's a responsible person. And a part of, being responsible is being proactive. And the proactiveness kind of leans into a little paranoia. No, everybody will say that that aspect I do definitely take off my mom, where I kind of say the worst case scenario first, and kind of try to avoid that before I do. So like I will see something, and as I say, I look for the worst case scenario in it, and I'm very paranoid, and trying to cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and I notice that within myself and within even my friend group, I am always the one having the umbrella. I'm always the one having the water bottle. I'm always, so I have everything. I don't have a car, but I walk with everything. I walk with everything. So if me need to do it overnight, I walk with everything.
Just in
right,
case.
just in case. So as I said, the proactive aspect I definitely do take off.
When I started, I told you about the lady that maybe have the radar near the belly. I've never been there. Are a lot of persons that would perform with me and know say I'm not the comedian type. I love theater and I will play the serious role, but I'm not the comedian type. If you ever meet my father, he make you laugh. So you laugh until you're annoyed. You say like, that's not funny. Why am I do that? And he consistently does it. However, he's a serious person also, but he will make that joke. My mother always she would sing. As naturally would sing, and she wouldn't be off key or anything, but don't profess to be a singer. But just sing naturally, would move naturally. As Shauna says, we grew up on RGR. Like I can tell you the programming. I can tell you it start with this, and then it go into the Western thing, and then it go into something else because we grew up on that. Yeah.
Having Shaun, as a child growing up, I can tell people as it is now that it's what you put in you will get out. And one of the things that I have more than ever on my side, is that I have extended family. I have a brother and a sister. I had my parents then when these children were growing. And when you talk about extended family, they say it takes a community to grow children. I am giving thanks at the fact that I had extended family, because none of my children could have said, Grandma can't talk to me because she's not my mother. Uncle or auntie can't. You're mad? Uncle or auntie can't talk to me because, no, and they can get licked from anybody as it is. You understand? So we didn't have that thing, and I think that is the most important aspect of me having these two children to be who they are today. The fact that we had this extended family growing up, and they know what was expected of them also. They know what was expected of them. People would have said probably we were not of a top-notch class, but no more than ever I realized that we were richer than plenty other persons, and the mere fact that you can provide for your kids in an environment that they're not spoiled in the sense that they say they don't want this and they want that. They have to just eat what we gave them. And they know that, yes, there was love, even though there are some times that probably we wouldn't have shown the love then. But keeping the uniqueness, the unity that we had in our family, I think has done marvelous. I remember getting redundant from Cable and Wireless, 2001, thereabout. And I remember when I got redundant, and saying, it was just like, wow, redundancy after 15 and a half years, We were there, Daddy was saying, what are you going to do? And da 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 da. And I didn't know, but it seemed as if it had shown on my face and probably in my expression that I was taking this thing a little bit hard, you know. And we went as a family. We went as a family to this to the North Coast, and we did enjoy ourselves. And I think, irrespective of what you're going through, persons should really take the time out to say yes. Let us enjoy something as a family. I'm sorry for those now who really have children, because one might be in his or her room watching television. Somebody else might be that side, another one might be there on a tablet, another one might be somewhere else. So there's this joy. But while they were going, we were there, and we weren't in a one-room situation, but we were there where we have to be at the table. If we're not at the table eating, all of us is on the veranda eating at the same time. So, as I say, my two kids, kiddos to them, and saying it publicly as it is, I'm glad that they are who they are, because where trouble is concerned, where I'm seeing persons going through now and even then with their kids, thank God I didn't have it. They come to the realization that my discipline would have been 2 liquor slippers around the corner or something, and then it would cool after that.
It would
And
cool.
then after that, them get the same food, them get ice cream if them want it, and all that. So at the spur of the moment, this, as a matter of fact, I can only say this is what I learned, and what I learned, I administer, and this is how my parents were, you know, because for you to get the beating and all of that, and after it cool. I mean, you see a whole heap of things then when you administer the beating and all of that. But after it cool, it just cool. And we go the next day and we go on beach, or we do whatever, ice cream or whatever, you know.
You know, my mom is the greatest mom of all, because everything she does, everything that she did, everything that she's still doing, you know, is always for me. Is always, you know, you always, as a child, you try to make your parents proud. I feel like my mom, she's her role is always to make us proud, right? Whatever she do is always to make us proud. The sacrifices, right? We had the opportunity, and this is something that I have been observing, you know, especially within my group, that my mother put everything in place. As I said, she's proactive to ensure that we have the opportunity to pursue, you know, tertiary institution, and that, wow, you know. And as I said, always pushing us, always, you know, encourage passion. She never forced anything on us, you know, because of status, or, you know, it's always passion and it's always love. And for that, mommy, I love you. I love you.
Yeah, my time?
Yes.
I don't want to see me cry. All right. Boy, the because I'm a parent now, it's a whole different level of appreciation and respect, because what I have to do for my son. Also being a parent and having the ability to be at the hospital when my wife was giving birth to her son, it made me respect my mother more. Too much information me I give, but when me hear say it's C-section, she do me and Shauna. You know, this is the strength of this lady, this woman, right? She have a little poem that I always say that she always loved, but it's really she. I think about that 9 months she have to feel the pain and she have to strain, and she still love us no matter what happen. If somebody else don't love us, she still love us. So this is always my mother, no matter how miserable I get. I am miserable and very stubborn. I have a whole right here, so Shauna have 2. But this my mother here, persons who meet me and I do theatre and work with them, say how me so serious with time, how me so precise. Yeah, me not even want to stretch out the thing, but this is my mother, and as Shauna said, me love that I got all the opportunities that a lot of other persons didn't get growing up, and she sacrificed to ensure that happened. And I will know and forevermore.
Amen.
No amen, but love and appreciate my mother. I created a poem based on my mother. And it goes like this. Woman, 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 African woman, 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 Caribbean woman, 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 Jamaican woman, yeah, say she a woman. 9 months, she feel the pain, lay down in a hospital for me, she a strain. All of my life throughout the tribulation, still I survive. Say it's a man's world, but they live in it too. They can do anything that we can do throughout it all. I know you don't understand, but they're the mother, sister, daughters, grandmothers, and them a woman, African woman, Caribbean woman, Jamaican woman. She a woman. She is. The wives of the men brought forth her children, and them will always depend for cook, wash, clean. All the clothes she have to press it, not by nomination, but by glad she was elected and selected to be the caregivers of the world. Women, you are the caregivers of the world. So if you're proud of diamonds and pearl, be proud, give thanks that you're a girl and a woman, African woman, Caribbean woman, Jamaican woman, my mother, she a woman.
You're the greatest mom of all. Always catch me when I fall. Even from a distance, you can hear me when I call. You're the greatest mom.